This is about your life, actually, isn't it?
Yes.
How much is Kelvin like you?
Ooh, good question. I would say a bit of like a 50-50. Like in ways we're very similar, and we found a lot of commonality in our experiences, and then in ways it was very different, you know? So it was about talking about that and sort of bridging the gap and finding that commonality, but the difference as well, you know?
What was in common and what was different?
It's a long conversation.
Yeah. You know, we're both very handsome. You know, he's very smart. I would like to think I'm very smart.
He's very smart.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
She's like, I'm forced to agree, essentially.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I like it. No, of course. I mean, they're like beautiful, sensitive, amazing, altruistic, like beautiful, beautiful men who aren't like jagged. And I mean that in just that they're, I don't know, I guess like men of 2019, which is open and lovely.
You play a much different role than you did in Loose as a teen. What did you draw from doing that role that you put in this one?
Well, you know, Luce is very much in his head a lot, and he's constantly thinking and plotting. And I think understanding, I guess, the psychology of how power and privilege work in the country, and you know, the generational gaps that exist that we kind of talk about in that movie, kind of helped me understand the psyche of what Tyler's actually experiencing with his father, and try to take away the intellectual part and just put it in feeling when you don't know how to communicate those words. So it helped me intellectualize it so I can bring that emotional truth to it.
And that was really about family and how they communicate with each other. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think communication between family is kind of a huge theme of the movie that I'm discovering more and more as we sort of like intellectualize it and talk about it. But I think it's easier said than done, especially between parent and child, to be absolutely honest and kind of break down barriers and be straight up with each other. That's very hard, actually, and it's kind of new territory to navigate. But I do think a lot of growth can come from that. So I really think that's just all in the movie, you know, and you see how that lack of communication can dismantle, and you see how the communication can build it up and bring together. So I think it's very much in the film.
Speaking of communication, since you've made this film, have you communicated any differently with your own families?
Great question. I'd say for myself, it's still a work in progress. It's still working, trying, you know, because it's easy to like sit here and talk to you and say like, yeah, it's communicate, this is what you do, but then like it's hard. So I'm working on that, communicating with my loved ones better and trying to understand their point of views and get mine across, but hear them. So I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
What about you?
What comes to mind is that as the older I get, and with this movie and doing it, I realize that it's really okay not to be okay, and that if I have a feeling in my family, or I'm upset with my parents or my siblings, that I'm allowed to have that, and that feeling will move through and pass, and then we can communicate probably better than we would before if I just buried it and held on. So. And
in the film, you're really kind of the glue that holds it together at the end, aren't you?
True.
More or less. It's my favorite answer tonight.
I just have one more question about the sound design and the music. Did you play any of the music when you were on the set for them ahead of time?
We definitely did. The music was so important. It was embedded in the script so people could listen to it as they were reading the script. We played music on set. We were always together that summer in Florida on boat trips, on whatever. Like music was kind of constantly playing and felt like the spirit of the film. And the sound design too was huge. We have an incredible sound designer, Johnny Byrne, and his sound team in the UK, and yeah, they're unreal. I just want to.
How do you make it so that you use the sound so it changes the mood?
It's for us, it's really about subjectivity. It's about subjectivity to these kids and these characters and their experiences, and using using sound to make you feel through them even more. You know what I mean? And that can be technical, how we use the rears and how we use the front speakers and how we use sound in the room, to how we mix things and how dynamic it is. And we really wanted it to be really subjective and immersive and honest to these kids' experiences.
What helped the most?
What helped the most with the music and stuff? Honestly, was just we had a playlist in the script, and when you read it, music cues play as you're reading it. So most of the songs in the film we kind of got initially, and it kind of really helps you understand the tone of the movie and the world these kids live in and the vibe. And I don't know, right? Don't you feel you felt the same way? So yeah, that was honestly, I've never had that before, so that's super great.
That's great.